It's our LSU versus Alabama preview on today's show. If you hate the Tigers, then spam F LSU in the comment section right now. Let's see hundreds of F LSUs down there right now. Bama is favored this week at home in Tuscaloosa for a night game on CBS, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff right there. Hopefully the crowd is raucous this week. The over-under set at 61, as we'll get into, could very well be a high-scoring affair. We will hit the injury news here before we get too far into today's show. The 4 players to watch for Alabama. Trez Marshall, he dressed last week, didn't play. I think that means he'll be good to go against LSU, although Bama got good play out of their linebackers even without Marshall against Tennessee. Plus the bye week, you'd think he'd be fine. Terrence Ferguson, we'll see about that one with the ankle. Not that he's been really starting anyway. They've made the move to Jaden Roberts. Terrion Arnold has had 2 weeks now for the concussion to heal. He practiced all week. I think he'll be good to go. J.C. Latham kind of spooked people when he showed up in the boot at Tuesday's press conference. He says he's good to go. I'm inclined to believe him. Over now to the LSU side of things. The notable loss, Mekhi Wingo, the defensive tackle. He had a lower body injury which required surgery, out at least 6 weeks. That kind of sounds like ankle surgery to me if he's going to miss that kind of that tightrope ankle procedure. That's a pure guess. Timeline does match up pretty well. It is a notable loss up front. He had 2.5 sacks, 3 TFLs so far this season. So sizable loss up front for the LSU Tigers, losing one of their better defensive linemen for at least the majority, and more importantly, won't play against Alabama from that perspective. Some other players who have been ruled out. These are what is notable. Zy Alexander, who has actually been their number 1 corner this year. He has played the most snaps this season. He is out as well. He's been the most targeted LSU corner. He's also played the most, hasn't done that great, but this entire LSU defense, to be blunt, has not been very good. So their number 1 corner is out, and so too is their number 3 corner. Denver Harris only played in 5 games this year, still 3rd in snaps. That's why I'm determining these numbers here. He has been up and down since the A&M transfer, so that's at least worth mentioning there. And then Deuce Chestnut, who has also played 4 games this year. This one not nearly as impactful, but it does leave LSU thin in the secondary. Down Alexander and, of course, Harris. Score prediction time for Alabama against LSU. Get your score predictions in at the pinned comment of today's video. The ad comes here on YouTube. Take advantage. Let us know the score prediction and, of course, who you've got winning. Let's talk keys to victory. Number 1, score more points. We're somewhat joking there, but what we really mean is offense show up. LSU's offense is among the best in all of college football, if not the best in college football. They've got the horses, they've got the offensive line, they've got the playmakers, they have the quarterback who's played incredible so far this year. Meanwhile, Alabama's offense has not been bad. I think they've picked it up in recent weeks. They really stepped up against Tennessee. They have to find a way to get going. And they also must protect themselves against Harold Perkins, who is one of the better players in the SEC. However, I have not been a fan of the way that they have utilized Harold Perkins. Harold Perkins at his best is as a pass rusher. He showed that in a very impressive fashion last season. The 3 hurries, the 3 hits, the sack. He has not been brought on pressures. They did it against Ole Miss, but he's actually been more of a coverage linebacker this year. That might change. Maybe they use him as a spy against Jalen Milroe. I don't think they've used him very well, but we shall see what ends up happening from this perspective. All right, Nick Saban had this to say on Harold Perkins. He makes plays all over the place. This guy's a really, really good athlete, really good player, very explosive. Those that play him out in the apex. He's a great blitzer. He can play like the star and ring up people and make plays in the passing game. Sometimes he plays in the box. Sometimes he plays the edge. He's got a great first step quickness. He's a good pass rusher. It's why he has so many tackles for loss and sacks and things like that. I think this guy is one of the most dynamic players in our league. Other things to keep in mind here, you cannot underestimate Jaydel Daniels. He is going to make plays. LSU is going to score in this football game. I get this defense for Alabama is really good, LSU is going to get points. You need your defense to get some stops and for your offense to capitalize on their chances. This might be a game where they kind of fall behind a little bit early on if they don't score immediately. That's okay. Against this defense, this team can also score for Alabama's offense against LSU's defense. I'm taking the over in this one. I think this has the potential to be a massive, high-scoring, shootout type of affair that we haven't really seen from Alabama so far this season. So don't be surprised if they both score 30. In normal games, I'd tell you if Bama scores 30, they win. Might not be enough this week. You might need to have even more points. 30 might be enough. It might be like a 30-28 game, but I would not be shocked if they got there or at least got close to it. So what is your confidence level in Alabama beating LSU? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1, of course, on the low end. 10 on the high end. Key to victory number 2, part of this dynamic LSU offense, is wide receiver Malik Nabers. This dude's a dog. This is a potential first-round pick. 981 yards, 9 touchdowns. The average is 17.5. He's tough. So Terrion Arnold, assuming he plays, Kool-Aid McKinstry, look, the corners are going to get beat some today. That is okay. That is going to happen. Don't freak out about it, but know that they're going to get beat sometimes. Expect that going in and make your stops and chances when you get the opportunity to do so. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. They are the largest independently owned DFS platform in North America, and you can pick NFL and college football games. I like to go with the NFL because I'm on a heater from that perspective. They also have chances to play alongside some of Prize Picks' favorite players. Rapper Meek Mill, comedian Andrew Schultz. Community plays in the promo tabs of the app. You can view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. And unlike, other outlets, you got to go against the pros and the sharks. It is just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and then watch the winnings roll in. My NFL picks this week. Give me more than Joe Burrow passing yards, more than Isaiah Pacheco yards on the ground, bad Bills secondary, bad Dolphins defense, and more than CeeDee Lamb receiving yards. Get a first deposit match up to $100 by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS and using code CLNS. Again, that's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for the first deposit match up to $100. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Key to victory number 3, cause some turnovers. Alabama has not had the normal turnover margins this team has been accustomed to. Jaydel Daniels will occasionally be reckless with the football, or at least be reckless with his body. Take advantage of that. Bama only has a +2 turnover margin this year, which is funny because that's like the one thing Saban wants out of his quarterbacks. No turnovers. They've had some mistakes this year. This is going to be a shootout. Turnovers can massively swing the game here. Now, Jaydel Daniels has been reckless. Doesn't mean he's often turned the football over. I do want to make that clear. Teams have not always capitalized on that perspective. Only 3 interceptions all season long. Only had 8 turnover-worthy plays, but there are times he is out there just not sliding. You can take advantage and try to force some fumbles of Daniels this year. Make him make mistakes. The better defense for the most part than he's faced all season long. So will the Bama defense get a turnover in this football game? Y for yes, N for no. Key to victory number 4 is to cause pressure without blitzing. Now, you ask any coach in any level, how would you love to get pressure ideally? They're going to tell you with 4. That means you can drop your max in coverage and you can still get home without allowing blitzes to try to be how you win. And the mark of a good quarterback is beating the blitz. And Jaydel Daniels has done this here. We'll spend some time on this. There's a lot of info on screen here. Look at the very bottom number. When blitzed, Jaydel Daniels completing 75.3% of his passes for 910 yards and 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Blitzing him has not worked out, in large part because he has been kept clean more often than not. He's got great kept clean numbers, as most quarterbacks are. Normally, when there's not pressure in your face, good things tend to happen. That's how football tends to go for quality quarterbacks. Under pressure, again, like most quarterbacks, his numbers have dipped. No interceptions, but 55% completion rate is substantially lower. It's a 20% drop versus when kept clean. The yards go down as well. He hasn't faced that much pressure so far this season. You know, the LSU offensive line's done a really good job of making him not, take that many sacks. He's only taken 16 sacks this year, about a 22% pressure to sack rate ratio. He's been able to hold the ball decently long. It's a good LSU offensive line. You need your horses, Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell, to get home. I'm a big fan of Dallas Turner's game. I like what I've seen so far this year. 7 sacks already. Chris Braswell's gotten home. They got home down the stretch against Tennessee. Milton had plenty of time before that. You need to take advantage and be able, especially if you get him in a 3rd and long, get after Jayden Daniels. Pressure is how quarterbacks, good ones like Daniels, can be beaten. So how many sacks will Alabama get against LSU in this football game? Is it 0? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? How many is it? Sound off in the comment section right now. Key to victory number 5, limit your penalties. Yeah, we're going to go this one again here because why wouldn't we? They've done better since we started bullying them, by the way, about limiting their penalties so far this year. They've upped their levels. It was an issue last year, though, against LSU. 9 penalties for 92 yards. So it was a huge difference in the Tennessee game, right? Bama played smart. Now, there's no road crowd to deal with here, which might benefit Alabama against LSU, but there's no excuses coming off of a bye week. You commit 9 penalties for 92 yards, you're probably going to lose. Against a good football team, it's really tough to overcome that because you're giving away free yards, you're costing yourself yardage, you're losing the hidden yardage of you gain 20 yards, up, called back for holding, -10. That's -30. Not great. So keep bullying Alabama by typing in flags in the comment section if you want the Crimson Tide to not commit more penalties. Producer Chris has a high-scoring score prediction, 48-42. Man, you've hammered the more than there, haven't you, on points? Yeah, I mean, I get it. Producer Chris, by the way, will have his score prediction there, and will also have his post-game reaction for you on the show. Either excitement or anger. That's typically how it ends up going. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@RollTideTV.